Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming. Before we get started, though, I want to have a moment of silence for all of those in uniform, all our Marines, all of our veterans, and in particular the 3 Marines that passed away last week in Afghanistan. So please, a moment of silence. Thank you very much. I want to welcome Sergeant Eddie Ryan, Chris Ryan, Ange Ryan for being here. You know what you mean to me, and I know I was there that day, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I wanted to welcome some of the folks that are here, our county executive, Adele Ryder, our county comptroller, Elliot Auerbach, Director of Veterans Affairs, Captain Massey, our Director of Information Services, Lieutenant Colonel De Leon from the Marine Corps, retired. I want to thank the Marines from Stewart. I want to thank the men and women of the Ulster County Sheriff's Office and the veterans and the Marines that are here. I also want to talk a little bit about our CACO folks, our Casualty Call Assistance Officers that were on duty on that fateful day. As a Marine veteran, as a warrant officer from the Marine Corps that retired many years ago, the importance of veterans to me is it's who I am. It's what I breathe. And so when I see or hear or talk about veterans, it's a sense of service to our great nation. And so I thank all veterans for what they are doing, what they've done in the past, and what they continue to do for our great nation and gives us the rights that we have today. I remember April 13th, and it was 13 years ago. I was on active duty for Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I recall getting that phone call. I was at Stewart Air National Guard Base and a member of MAG 49 Detachment Bravo. The phone call came in, and I was assigned as the Casualty Assistance Call Officer, and I had to go inform the family what happened out to Sergeant Eddie Ryan. The staff NCOIC that day was a gunnery sergeant who retired as a master sergeant, who's here today, Master Sergeant Gunther. And we got our instructions, and our job was to notify the family. It was a day similar to this day. Today, it was cool. The sun was out. I got the information from Headquarters Marine Corps, and me and the gunny at the time went over to the house. I didn't want to just show up. We all see what happens on television when you just showed up, because Sergeant Ryan had a tremendous injury, but he did not pass, and I did not just want to show up. So I drove by the house, and I didn't see the car, and then about 15, 20 minutes later, I drove by again, and I saw the car, and I called. The first time I called, it went to a voicemail. I left a message. And then the second time I called, his mother, Angie Ryan, picked up the phone, and I told her who I was, and I told her that I wanted to stop by and talk with her. I knew in her voice she knew something was wrong, but I wanted to assure her that that I was coming over to talk to her about what had occurred. I knocked on the door that day, and I went into the house with the gunny, and I began speaking to Mrs. Ryan, and I immediately noticed that Sergeant Eddie Ryan was their only child, their only male child, and I saw the pictures on the refrigerator, and I knew that he was the center of their universe. It was a tremendous day that day with so many emotions that went on. We called family members. I spoke to Chris on the phone. And if you don't know Chris, he's a no-nonsense Marine, just like Sergeant Eddie Ryan. And so the family showed up, and that initial contact is tough for families. There's a lot of emotions that are going on when something like this happens. And so I explained to them what happened, the limited information that I had at the time. And I was there for them from the minute I got the information. The interesting thing about this notification was that our job was to get them to the hospital immediately. And so me and Top Gunther, there was a language barrier when I had to contact the Italian consulate. I speak Spanish, but I didn't speak Italian, so I needed help. And I reached out to Sergeant Major Luigi Chiacchi, who's also here, and he assisted me with the Italian consulate. We got the family on the plane within 18 hours to get to Germany. And when they arrived in Germany, I reached out to the Marine that was there and gave him specific instructions because this was a traumatic and tragic call. And I will tell you that this family, they're miracle workers. If it wasn't for them, I don't know if Sergeant Eddie Ryan would be here today. This family is an amazing family. Sergeant Eddie Ryan is an amazing Marine, and it's a testament to the human spirit. Now, I didn't see them again until my niece graduated Walk Hill High School several years later, because I was ordered not to talk to them again because there was a new casualty assistance officer that came to take over, because I was removed from active duty because my 1 year of active duty was up. But I know that they were in good hands. Because the Marine Corps, we take care of our own. We always have. So I am proud that you are here today. We're going to have a couple of speakers come up, and we're going to honor the family and Sergeant Eddie Ryan. I will start off by asking for the county executive to come up and say a few words. Adele Ryder.
Thank you. So I can hardly add anything to what our remarkable sheriff said. It's just an amazing, beautiful, wonderful story of bravery and survival and service. And on behalf of the 180,000 people in this county, I thank you for everything that you have done. I can't thank the assemblage here enough, as well as the sheriff has done, so I won't even try. I'll just say I echo his words, and we're very lucky to have Sheriff Figueroa here as our sheriff. What I did do was just write down a few thoughts, and so I'd like to read them. It'll only take me 2 minutes. So this is a proclamation, and it says, whereas Ulster County is a deeply patriotic place where the contributions and sacrifices of our nation's veterans are solemnly remembered. Eddie Ryan is a native of Ulster County, having resided in Ellenville when he chose to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Eddie Ryan served multiple combat tours in Iraq. In 2005, Eddie Ryan was wounded in the line of duty and suffered severe, life-altering injuries. Since the time of his injuries, Eddie Ryan, with the unwavering support of his family, has continued to battle to overcome any and all obstacles confronted by him. During Eddie Ryan's journey of rehabilitation and healing, he has demonstrated perseverance, strength, bravery, fortitude, and determination that has become an example to all of us. Eddie Ryan is a true hero among us, and Ulster County gives pause to recognize him and acknowledge that our nation is the home of the free because of the brave. So then, now therefore, I, Adele Ryder, Acting County Executive, do hereby proclaim April 11th, 2019 as Eddie Ryan Day in Ulster County. Oh my God. privilege. Thank you very much. So, Sheriff, would you like to do? It's the least I can do. Truly the least I can do.
Mr. Comptroller, would you like to speak? You have any words you want to say? Come on up.
Thank you. You know, I know today is proclaimed Eddie Ryan Day in Ulster County. If you live in Ellenville, New York, like I do, and you grew up with this family like I did, every day is Eddie Ryan Day. Our heart really lives and breathes the Ryan story and the admiration that we all have for Chris and Angie and their entire family, and the love that we have for Eddie. So I'm happy to see that you're here with all of us today to share that. Thank you.
Sergeant Major Kiyaki and Master Sergeant Gunther, please stand back here for a minute.
Detail.
Attention to the orders. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. Know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the fidelity and abilities of Eddie Ryan, I do appoint him as honorary Deputy Sheriff in the Ulster County Sheriff's Office. To rank as such from the 11th day of April 2019, this appointee will therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the grade to which appointed, by doing and performing all manner of things thereunto pertaining. And this appointee is to observe and follow such orders and directions as may be given from time to time by supervisors acting according to the rules and articles governing the discipline of the Ulster County Sheriff's Office, given under my hand at 380 Boulevard, Kingston, New York, 12401, on this, the 11th day of April in the year 2019. Juan J. Figueroa, Sheriff, Ulster County.
Take a picture of
Honorary.
I want to thank everyone for coming here today. We're going to have some lunch upstairs, so we'll bring you upstairs if you want to stop in for some lunch. I want to thank Savano's Pizzeria for donating lunch, and Gary Arrow. Where's Gary? There he is. and Gary, and if I left somebody out, please let me know. If anybody else wants to add a couple of words or want to come and speak, this is the opportunity for that. Come on, Mr. Ryan.
You know we got it.
When I first found out, I called the sheriff for an unrelated favor not too long ago. And he told me that he won the election and he's sheriff now. And I learned that not too long ago, only a couple of months. But all I have to say is what I told everybody else when I learned he was a sheriff. Ulster County's in good hands. Because this man is one of the sharpest Marines I've ever met. On that day, when I was at work, I was a heavy equipment operator for a union down in Westchester County. My phone rang. I was on my machine. And caller ID came up, home. So I'm thinking it's either my wife or my daughter on the phone, because Eddie was on his third tour of duty in Iraq, but it was a man. And I said, hello, who's this? And he said, something officer And I'll never forget this. And I figured maybe it was a police officer. I says, "Who is this?" And he says, "Sir, this is Chief Warrant Officer Juan Figueroa. I'm a United States Marine. I need you to come home immediately. Your son has been seriously wounded in Iraq." I parked my machine, and I was about an hour and 40 minutes away from home. But I did ask him, I said, "Sir," I says, "where was he wounded? I wanted to know what part of his body. Maybe he lost a leg, maybe he got shot in the arm, I didn't know." We were following the war every night. He says, "Sir, I cannot tell you that." You remember him saying that? He said, "I cannot tell you that. I have to see you face to face to tell you." And I got home, and he was standing in uniform on the top of my driveway, and I went up to him and I asked him, and he said, we have to get you there because he's gravely wounded. He was shot twice in the head, and we have to get you there. But from that point until we got on the plane, this man was incredible. I personally haven't seen anybody since that day be such a multitasker. Of course, we were asking him, "Sir, can you please call Germany? Can you call?" He would call to the room in Germany. Could you see if Eddie's still alive? I must have asked you 10 times. And he would call. He's hanging on, but he needs you there. We came to a point where my wife is an immigrant from Italy, and she had a passport, and he had to get her through the Italian consulate. But it was coming to a point where me and my daughter were almost ready to split up. We said, "Listen, we can't let Eddie die alone. You know, we have to be there. We have to hold him. We have to reassure him that we just don't want him to die alone." And but he made things happen. He made everything happen where we got there, and we're just in debt to him for the rest of our lives for making things happen. He's an incredible Marine, and Ulster County is in good hands. I know that.
And I just want to say that this man here, if it wasn't for his expediency in getting us to where we had to go, and his knowledge and his just, like my husband said, he was on the phone. He had things all organized, and if it hadn't been for him, and the timing was so crucial to us, that I truly believe that if it wasn't for him doing what he did for us, we wouldn't have Eddie today. We would have missed that moment where we could say goodbye to him if needed to be, but we were so blessed to have him with us. So thank you again.
I couldn't do it alone, and the human spirit is amazing, and this family is amazing. But Sergeant Major Chiaki, who speaks Italian, Spanish, and English, if it wasn't for him, I don't know, how we would have gotten everybody on a plane in 18 hours, and of course, my right-hand man, Master Sergeant Gunter. So I thank you for making the trip up here. I thank everyone for being here today, and we can go upstairs and have some lunch. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dismissed.